Just so you know, this episode goes out to the world during the last week of April, and via the magic of pre-recording, I can say, hello all, we are currently the 26th of April 2019. I turned 40 just 10 days ago, and I am currently in New York City with my mum for 10 very neat days.
Oh, jealous.
As I have the ability to be many places at once, I'm also here in Glasgow, and we are very excited because we finally welcome Boryana Floorplan Croissant herself. Hello, Boryana.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Okay, happy birthday, Yann, with several days late. I would never say that you are 40.
Yeah.
I don't know. You all look like children. Also, I'm very happy that you are back three together because you had this message like several weeks ago. We are breaking up.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was really sad, and I didn't know what's going on, but I believe it was just a vacation.
No, that was me doing a clickbait. So I can't exactly pinpoint how I found out about your art, Boryana. However, Patreon tells me I've been a patron since February 2018.
No way. It's a whole year.
Oh, anniversary.
So we've got 12 of these little things?
Okay, you're my second patron, actually. It was amazing when I had you.
Oh, it's so cool, Yann.
Yes, it was so nice. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. I really don't. I'm not sure how I stumbled upon, as I just said, your work, but I'm glad I did. And it's on the video. Those who actually will see the video can see some of them. That so it's one a month, right? When you get the $20 tier. And there was a nice Christmas one, and I ordered one for my brother, the Matrix one. And
did they arrive?
Yes. Everything arrived. It's fine.
Okay.
In the end, yes. So we've been wanting to do this episode for a while. So the way asked you a few days ago, what movie is the one that inspired you to go into that art, to drawing floor plans, this lifelong quest to discover architecture in films?
I never knew this will take me so far, believe me. I just wanted to take out the floor plan of this particular movie, and look what happened now. 4 years later.
4 years later.
Amazing.
It's amazing. Before Yann brought it up, and Anouk quite funnily put, if we Google Floor Plan Croissant, our video from like last year we just discovered it. You never saw stuff like this, actually, for floor plans of movies. And I don't know why. It's incredible. It's such a thing that you'd think that's a great idea, but nobody had done it up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
There is this girl, I think she did like many years ago, like 10 years ago, with pencil, 2D look, not 3D, but 2D. The Carrie Bradshaw apartment. Probably you've stumbled upon it, and but no, movies, no. The cinema type of movies, no.
It's
not the TV series one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so that movie. So you actually gave me two titles. We watched Amour.
Really?
Together yesterday, and I struggled to find Elena, so I actually found it this morning, and I'm the only one who watched it. So we're going to talk exclusively about Amour, I guess.
But you saw Elena also?
Just me. I saw it this morning.
Really?
Yes.
So nice.
Well, me and Adam will definitely try and watch
we'll
it
watch that
then.
after this.
It was on iTunes US, so yeah. Whereas Amour was on iTunes UK for £1.99.
Really?
As a buy, whereas the renting was $3.99.
Ah, okay.
It's a good film, man. I remember when Yann mentioned it, I was like, okay, and then we started watching it, and we got to the scene, the opening scene, really, of the at the breakfast table. I was like, I know this movie from somewhere. And I remember it from the hype way back in like for the BAFTAs, because this cleaned house, this film, award-wise.
Yeah.
Which is funny, us coming off of Oscar month. Like, this is a non... Imagine this coming out today, it'd be on Netflix and it wouldn't win anything.
This did really well.
It didn't take any Oscars, or maybe the foreign movie one, or no?
It got...
I don't know.
I think it got Best Film Not in the English Language at the Oscars, but at BAFTA, the lead actress, she won for lead actress in a film. So I don't know. I don't think it won anything else at the Academy, but at BAFTA we gave it the lead actress and Best Film Not in the English Language as well.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the lead actress, do you know that she used to live in this apartment during the shoots of the movie, because she was very old already, and she passed away actually 2 years ago, I think. And she was very old, and it was really difficult for her to get from home to work every day to shoot, so she just slept in the bedroom.
It's a nice it's a nice apartment, actually.
Actually, this apartment doesn't exist at all. It is a built set, and I was shocked to find this out weeks after struggling with the floor plan of this apartment, because it looks so real.
Yeah,
it's super real. And it's that thing that recently probably you've noticed, that I'm really fascinated by apartments which are somehow connected with directors' personal apartments. For example, Stanley Kubrick, he rebuilt his apartment where he used to live in New York in the 50s, and he rebuilt it in London and shot Eyes Wide Shut in it. Also, I found out that Michael Haneke, the director of Amour, the film that I don't think we ever mentioned, that you three of you watched, and it was the film that inspired me to try to take the floor plan out of the apartment. Amour by Michael Haneke. So this is his childhood apartment from Vienna, where he lived as a child, and he built it again and shot Amour in it. But it was set, and it was like horrendous time for the crew which was building the apartment, because he was so he wanted the sound of the parquet to the squeaking of the parquet when you step on it to be exactly the same like he remembered it. So he made the crew rearrange the parquet several times.
Wow.
For this for this film, just because you notice that there's a lot of pacing from one room to another room, the wheeling chair, everything, and you always hear this parquet, and it was very important for him.
I have a question then. What was it that inspired you to then start do the floor plan? Was it learning about what you just told us, or actually watching? Because in Amour you can see the nice stuff like the paintings and photographs on the wall. So what was it that inspired you? You researching afterwards, or actually seeing this?
It was strange. I remember when I saw this film, and I was deeply in my profession as an architect, working my interior projects, houses, everything. Very, very on the peak of my architectural career, probably. A lot of work, and this film, when I watched it, I remember thinking, oh my God, I actually see in my head the whole floor plan right now, because they stay most of the time inside the apartment, and it was from the living room to the kitchen to the bedroom, living room, kitchen, bedroom, living room, kitchen, bathroom, and tens of times this, and I went to bed, and I was first thing tomorrow morning. I will just for breakfast while drinking my tea. I will just catch the floor plan, and I thought it was going to be a piece of cake, and it was impossible. It was super difficult, and it became like a week task for me. This among my other work, I was just working on it separately with a pencil and on the sheet of paper, and a lot of problems appeared. I just couldn't understand a lot of my architect's mind couldn't get how come the kitchen and the door, the main door and entrance door and the corridor, how they fit, because something just didn't fit. There was something wrong. Also, the building was supposed to be on a main Paris boulevard, and all those buildings, you know, they have these straight lines of windows, just very regularly arranged. And when I put the rooms one next to the other, the dining room, the living room, and there is a kitchen, living, and in between there is a middle room, which we see only in the beginning of the film when the police break it, when they enter. We only see this room then. And when I arranged the windows, they just didn't get in any order. There was two like this, then the next one next to it, but very close. Absolutely no order, logical at all. And I didn't know that they built sets at this time. I was sure that it's a real apartment. How come? Then I read a lot, and then I found out it's a built set, and of course they can afford to do whatever they want. And it was super adventurous time for me, much more adventurous than my real life projects. And I was really happy, really happy.
Awesome. Was it quite early on that you actually started to have help from set designers from the movies, or did it come later? Or
it came very late, much later. I was alone, absolutely on my own for the first 7 or 8 houses, probably.
Wow.
And one day I got a message from the director, Alex Rosperi. I just painted his house, the Queen of Earth. He wrote me in Twitter, I want this. And it was super strange. I didn't know that I actually can communicate with these people. And yes, later I figured out that I can actually write to the production designers and ask them some questions, but you cannot just write them a message or and say, hey, can you send me the floor plan, or probably just tell me how come it looks like there's a room behind this wall, but you never show it. What the hell? You need to send them your work you've done before this. You need to send them your blood on the paper, and they need to see that you suffered for like weeks.
Yeah. An addition for every floor plan. Man, it's a whole new level to them now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love the idea that when you start doing this and you're still doing like real life architectural work, people are just like, I think I've seen this somewhere. Just like, hang on, I watched the film last night and there's a room here that it's just seeing if anything leaped over to each job. I thought that'd be quite funny.
I think the big print that I purchased was the Dreamers. I think a room was discovered after you painted. There was something like this. It's a bit of a drama thing, or was it?
Oh, it was dramatic for me. This apartment, this room, I would never know. It wasn't a room. It was a corridor, a whole corridor surrounding the staircase. And the dreamers, they have this inner courtyard inside the building where Louis Garreau's character, he goes down the stair into this inner courtyard to find food in the junk. Do you remember this? They are out of money, and they don't have what to eat, and they go and look in the trashes for food, and this is the inner courtyard of the building. And this inner courtyard, from the one side of it, there is Matthew's room, the American guest boy, and on the other side of the courtyard, there is the bathroom, and they make eye connection through the courtyard. And it never occurred to me that these guys who own the apartment, their parents, and the real apartment, because it's a real apartment, actually it goes around all this courtyard. I never knew such an apartment exists in the world. Amazing. And I was sure that Matthew's room across the courtyard is some kind of a set, and it's impossible that there might be such architectural decision. And when I painted the floor plan of the dreamer's apartment, and I didn't include these corridors surrounding the courtyard. Later, my favorite person in the world, production designer of the film, Jean Robas, he sent me 2 gigabytes of photos of all the process of them building this set. But it was a real apartment. Just they were building it like putting doors and furniture in it. And in those photos, I saw the corridor, yes. And it was dramatic. The painting had already been done. No corridor on it. That's it.
Wow.
So it's interesting that this film that we watched for this episode, Amour, won the Palme d'Or in Cannes. And there is a name I saw quite early on in the credits. Every time I see this name, I'm like, oh, the cinematographer is a French-Iranian guy called Darius Khondji. And he worked with Jean-Pierre Jeunet a few times with Delicatessen, The City of Lost Children, Alien Resurrection.
But this is Jean Robas' crew. I mean, so he knows the production designer of Dreamers because he worked also for the Delicatessen and the Lost Children. And
Right.
so the cinematographer is the Amour cinematographer. I didn't know that.
Yes, that's the same. He also obviously worked with David Fincher, Seven, Panic Room, and that's the one, Bernardo Bertolucci, Stealing Beauty.
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
And Okja.
Oh yeah, that forgotten film.
So he's really active. Really active.
Yeah,
Just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Darius Khondji.
Wow.
Yeah, how did you? Because clearly I never heard about Amour before, and on this podcast, the episode is not out yet. Let me think. Yeah, I think it should be out. Anyway, even if it's out or not, the first time we had a French movie, it didn't go well because, and I'm saying right now I didn't sell the thing to Adam properly, so that's mine. That's my fault.
Look, when we had a discussion the day before, like, oh yeah, let's watch the 400 Blows, this movie that inspires countless other coming of age movies, and the shot of a child at a beach looking back on like the whole. Any beach shot is from it. I'm like, great. Oh, we're watching a French film tomorrow. Oh, it's not 400 Blows. I'm like, what? And then we get there and it's just this. Well, it's out. You've heard how much I loved A Wing and a Thigh, which features in Roma. Not that film, but the style of that film features in Roma. It's the film that is on when is it Fernand, the boyfriend who leaves her. I can't remember his name. I think it's something France. Fermin leaves her. Like she tells him she's pregnant and he leaves. The film in the background is by the same people of this French film that I just was not the 400 Blows. So
no, you haven't heard it yet.
It's not out yet.
No,
it's coming.
I mean, yeah, the Wing of the Thigh is coming.
Oh Jesus!
Actually, Amour is they speak in French, but the director he's not French guy. He has a lot of German-speaking movies, but okay, it's a French movie.
Isn't it? It's like a cooperation because there's definitely a German film involved, and then is Vienna the last one? Because it comes up at the start of the film. It's French.
Well, you have French,
Austrian,
German, and Austrian.
Austrian. That was it. Yeah, which a lot of because it's funny because the apartment itself, when you see that 3-room effect, you know, like the bedroom, the room we never see, and then the living room, it's very similar to the apartments where your mum stays in Berlin. Like it does have I always equate that sort of like 3-room layout to European architecture now because I've seen that.
It actually reminded me a lot of my grandparents' house in Germany because they have these it's like a tenement building, but the door that leads from the staircase to their apartment it's like huge metal I don't know what they're called, but they have like they're like really thick metal doors that are painted, and they have these huge double doors that open and then they connect to each room, so you can see through 3 or 4 rooms. And
what about the vestibule? You know, the entrance area, a very very big wide hallway. Did your grandmother have it?
My mum does now in Berlin. So
okay, it's definitely a European apartment.
Yeah.
The model is from Vienna, exactly this one. But yes, this is we can see this in Berlin, in Paris, in Vienna, and in many other countries also. For example, in Russia, I don't know, but I think I saw such an apartment in Tarkovsky's short film, but it might have been shot in Italy. I don't know about Russia. Probably no. It would be great to talk about the apartment in Elena, Zviagintsev Elena, but only Yann saw it. So, Yann, just a few words. What do you think of the apartment?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because it's a lot of light coming out, coming in because there are plenty of obviously, like it's bigger, way bigger.
It's a modern apartment. Not classic. It's like the designer's type.
Yes, like an architect's flat kind of. But
yes.
It's. I thought some of the shots were similar, which was interesting, and the dynamic in the couple. It's both stories are with couples, so that's interesting. But we'll definitely watch it after.
Okay. Okay.
And yeah. I don't. Yeah, I think it's quite unusual to see at that level of intensity and being with them, a couple of the 80-year-old couple, and for anyone with grandparents, obviously that. Everyone except obviously if you are an orphan, you have no idea. But that will strike, that will ring, that will be hard. That will punch you in the face. Like it will remind you stuff.
The director's famous for doing films that are really heavy, and some people say this is one of his more lighter pieces, which is kind of like. I know. I think I've read some descriptions of what his other films are because I haven't seen them. Like they're really like out there, but I wouldn't say this is light. I'd say this is a real like testimony to what the definition of love is, really, which is really sweet. I thought.
Have you seen The Piano Teacher?
Oh wow! Oh, is that the same director?
Of course.
That film traumatized me because I've also read the book. And of course the book is harrowing, but watching it and also it seems that the director, he likes to have shots that don't leave, and so you're forced to watch it and watch something that is going to be really hard for you but also hard for the characters and obviously the actors, it doesn't shy away from watching.
Isabel Yopeg, she's professional. Don't worry about her. She can handle it.
Of course. But I think maybe in a lot of films you might have a scene where the man helps his wife, from a wheelchair into a living room seat, but then it leaves the camera goes to another scene. Yeah,
it would be her like sitting down and like breathing out, so we get the implied that they've been lifted. Even like this one of the first scenes at the recital, where we have this massive wide shot of like loads of different faces. In more like Hollywood styled films, that would be like a sort of like on a dolly sweeping across the audience. But the ability to just have stillness, there's a lot of stillness in this, which is I think I now look a trademark of European, but it's nice. It's nice to have something just linger there and let you, and it must be good for actually for yourself when looking for like the architecture stuff, where the film just hold long enough to go, right, that's there, that's there, that's there, that's there as well. So
yeah, gives you some time to see the floor plan,
the layout of the house.
By the way, probably it will be interesting for you to know the last film of Michael Haneke. It was last year, and it was called Happy End. And you will love it probably because it's kind of a continuation of Amour.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, you can see links with Amour, and it was really surprising. But you need to have watched Amour to find these links.
Okay.
See it.
Nice. Yeah.
It was on Cannes last year.
Okay.
Nice.
And
I realized the neighbor getting our package, was it? So I realized watching the credits, they had 2 pigeon trainers.
yes.
Was the pigeon credited?
Yes, because of the pigeon. Yes. Oh,
The pigeon was not credited.
Outrageous.
Symbolism.
I also saw some Pleiad books in the library. That's the book, the legendary collection I talked about a few times before. And I finally have the Miserable one I'm quite happy about. And I spotted some of those in the library in Amour. So
in the library of the characters.
Yes.
Oh, Yann, you will love this. Because I know you are a fan of the Dreamers.
Yeah.
And those photos that Jean Rabas sent me, there is like hundreds of photos only from the dad's office, and very, very close shots to the library and titles of books, which were somehow important for the director to place them there. Also, there are some books which are put like you see their front, just like this, because you need to see the title and everything. Such an interesting titles, man.
Nice. To be fair, I haven't seen the Dreamers.
I will send you some photos
Nice.
from the office of the father to see
nice.
titles.
Oh,
Of
great.
books.
And
Yes.
I need to rewatch it because I watched it probably 10 years ago and I was not as crazy about, analytical and thinking about film as much as I am today. So, yeah.
Yes, you will see with different eyes. But the sad thing is that in film we almost don't see anything from the father's room, his cabinet office, because I don't know why, but the set designers they had so much work done there with every little object. Everything is so important to be in this place, and we never see this in film. I just saw it on the photos. So sad. Yes.
The Alexandre Tarot is a real pianist.
Yeah, I saw that his name was
Yeah.
the same as the character, so I was like, oh, he must be a real musician.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
That's nice. He looked like a musician. I actually, when you first see him, I thought, oh, that's really good casting.
Do you know what gave that away is when he sat down at the piano and he sits with that rigid back. You're like, you're a piano player, because there's just that composure behind the piano.
Yeah, he also knew what to do with the piano, like how to open it. I would be like, how?
He's like, I don't remember this in G minor, and then proceeds to play it nearly immaculately.
Yeah,
I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure that's close.
Perfectly. I think it probably made it even worse because she was a musician, and so she can't use her right hand, and probably her right foot. Sorry, and so means that she wouldn't be able to play.
I've been revisiting the piano teacher for the last week. Every day at lunch, I just play next 10 minutes of it. So it's been like a whole week of piano teacher.
Oh, it's have you guys seen it?
No, I have not.
It's incredible.
It's the Bible to everything.
It's beautiful.
It is like I'm having so much pleasure revisiting it maybe 8 years after I saw it. And I've been thinking about this director, Michael Haneke, that he loves musicians and the theme of music and people playing music, singing music, opera. There is a lot of music in the piano teacher also. For example, there are other directors who love other kind of artistic jobs like architects or photographers, but Haneke, he's really fond of musicians. That's what I've noticed. And Amour proves it also.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
There was,
really nice.
It's not really related to Amour, but we did I think it was in our Oscar episode that was last week. Well, I'm juggling with the schedule there. And it was quite nice to see the people from Roma comment on your on a video on Instagram.
So cool.
It was this Roma. I cannot explain what happened there. I just woke up in the morning. I posted the photo with the floor plan of the house. And in the morning I woke up and I had email from the production designer who told me that I got the house perfectly well. And I had messages from the set designer and from who else? Set designer, production designer, and one more guy had written me. It was really so nice. I don't know how this house reached them so fast for hours, and they all said that I got the house correctly. I've learned to do that already. I know it's correct. By the way, if it's not. I will know somewhere something won't click, and everything clicked here.
How long?
It was really nice.
That's awesome.
Of them to do this.
That's really cool. I was going to ask how long have you been doing the floor plans then? If Yann has been a Patreon supporter since last year, but that must have started before, no?
Yeah.
4 years. 4 years.
4 years?
Yes, 4 years since I started this crazy trip.
Nice. And so on Patreon, so that's $20 a month, you get a monthly floor plan. I showed you. Do you ever get those because you've got a bigger tier? People can actually have commission. So did that ever happen already, or?
It happened once, and it was. I mean, I have people asking all the time about films they want to see in the collection, in the Croissant collection, and but I think it's too expensive for them. And one time I got the order, but I'm not supposed to talk about it. I was asked, but it's been one time.
Very cool.
What
Very secret.
what's the criteria then for you? Do you watch something and go, I'd quite like to draw that, or is it like, maybe I could do this one? Like, say, if I don't know. I always, when I see films now, I look at difficult ones. Like, one I could imagine is like the Texas Chainsaw House in your own mind, and like something that's out there and different. So what's it for you to find? Do you find it in yourself? Do you watch a film and go, oh, I should draw that? Or do you know of films that you know that the house or the architecture is distinct that you'd like to try and do?
I think it's 100% of the time. I need to be surprised. I watched the film without any expectations, and even I myself, I need to fall in love with the film. I need to get crazy about it, to not sleep, or to sleep and dream of it, to think of it for days, and not even me would have noticed that there is a house in it. I mean, it's not so important that all the film is all about the house. I just find this way to participate somehow in this process of the film. For example, this movie from last year, the Polish one, Cold War. It was by director Paweł Pawlikowski and was nominated now for 3 Oscars: director, foreign, and maybe one more thing, maybe camera. I'm not sure. And it was such a beautiful love story in the film, and no particular house in it. Everywhere architecture, everywhere beautiful images, black and white. Amazingly beautifully made, and I really wanted to do something just to spend more time with this film. So I found this love nest dwelling of the protagonists, which they inhabit for like 10 minutes of the whole film, and grabbed it. and did whatever I could with it to make a floor plan from it. We are having director Paweł Pawlikowski coming to Sofia next week, and I hope to see him and to be able to give him a copy of it. Really.
Next week. So we are today the 26th of April, so that was a while ago, right?
Yeah.
Yes, he will be coming somewhere between 10th and 20th of March.
Cool.
Awesome.
It's, I won't go. One interesting difference between this one and Elena. This one, there wasn't that any present theme or musical motif. Even the credits don't have any sound.
You're speaking about
Amour.
Amour, yes.
Which I thought was so. We were really with the two protagonists, whereas in Elena, it's a bit more there is a motif and it's a bit bigger, and I thought watching the two was interesting.
Well, they are very, very different films. Actually, it's the common thing between them is the apartment. Everything else very, very, very different, but really deep with deep meaning films, both of them, with message.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
especially Elena.
Well, I always struggle. Well, it's in Russian, and the version I found had, thank God, English subtitles, so that's fine. So that's why I only got that this morning. I struggled to get a legal version for weeks. Well, for the time I asked you until now, but this morning. So that's pretty much why I didn't want to. Oh, guys! Well, it's 9 a.m. Guys, we have this 2 hours film to watch before. Well, no, I didn't do that. I just sneaked in and watched it on my own. But yeah,
Really selfish.
I know we would have been up for that.
We'll watch it
Would
and
it?
we'll let you know what we think. Have you done the piano teacher then, or are you doing it, or are you thinking?
No. I've been. I told you I've been revisiting this film this week, but there is the apartment there. It's the apartment of the daughter and the mother, the only apartment, and we can see almost nothing of it.
Yeah.
Plus, I feel myself terrible thinking about this apartment. Oh, this relationship between the mother and the daughter. It terrifies me, and I'm not comfortable with this apartment. I just I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I love the film.
I understand that completely.
I love the film.
Yeah. And I mean, there are horrible events that go on in that apartment. It's about an overbearing mother, let's say. Well, very overbearing relationship.
Let's say to the people who don't know the film, Isabelle Huppert, she's like 40, 50 years old, and she lives with her mother. Her mother is the most horrible person you can imagine. They sleep together in a bed, and she's very violent. She's very restrictive. She's like ordering her daughter the hour she's supposed to get home, and she's watching her steps everywhere. She doesn't let her have any relationship with men or other people. Very jealous. And yes, they inhabit this apartment, and I just want Isabelle Huppert's character to leave, to get out of this door and go out, and everything she does outside this apartment I love. Especially there's this scene where she goes in the video store, the pornographic video store, and she gets inside the cabin alone. Not telling you anything. You need to see.
It's a great film, yes.
spoilers.
That's all right.
Do you have any? Oh yeah, I found the question there. Is there? So I know you're passionate, almost equally in every movie that you delve into. But would you say you have a favorite experience, the whole package, like from watching the movie to the actual completion of the floor plan? I know it's as hard a question to answer as what's your favorite film, but can you do you have anything?
The Dreamers is my favorite experience. It's been like 4 months road. I walked with this project. I started it from zero. I gave up several times. I absolutely didn't know how to handle this apartment, and I had this brilliant idea during one of the nights. I mean, some thought, how can I possibly assemble the rooms of this apartment, because the production designer didn't answer my emails, and it's been really rewarding process, because at the end I really succeed. And the result, I love it. I mean, I love the apartment looked from above, how it looks. He's like a triangle. Some of the apartments, they don't look from the above. Very scattered and not compact. And this one got very compact. And at the end, I became friends with the production designer, and it's been really emotional. And I love this project.
Because you fall in love with every film you do, and rightly, because that makes the experience of making the floor plan easier. In the same regard, is it hard to know when you're done with a floor plan?
When I'm done, when I'm ready?
Yeah.
No. I'm super happy when I'm done.
So there's no obsessing over like, oh, maybe that's just slightly off, or like the tiny little details. You're quite happy to know, like, no, I'm happy with everything how it is laid out.
It's strange, but I always know when I'm done. I know that I have 15 minutes more. I just need to fix this thing here, and I'm done. Then I'm happy for 2 or 3 days. And if I don't have another project in mind, I start to get really maybe a little depressed, sad, nervous. I always need to have to have a plan in my head. What's next?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I think I don't go that much on Patreon. I support, but I know that I send my money and but I know that you have like you send behind the scenes and plenty of stuff, how it is actually being made and things, which is quite cool.
You have, and I mean, you have the I don't know what it's called, but the time lapse of the creative process on Instagram, right?
Yes.
I watched all of them because
Really?
they're so nice to watch. Yeah. And I've always had a really nice connection with watercolors. I think they're so beautiful. I actually wanted to ask you, is there a reason why you chose watercolors? Or is it just
It just happened so.
Yeah.
I grabbed the first thing I had on hand. I had the watercolors next to me. It might be clay one day, or pencils, anything. They just do their job well, the watercolors. But I'm not they're not the most important, the media I use. The most important is the doing this matrix of rooms, finding how they fit together. That's what makes me happy. Watercolor is watercolor.
fair enough?
Okay, that's not
Not
really.
very artistically set.
No, but I understand. It's creative. It's process.
Before I forget, and I'm sure I won't forget, but rather say it right now, we know that you listen to our podcast frequently and you're a supporter, so thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
It is bizarre to think somebody on the other side of the world listens to the podcast.
Yeah.
To us, it's like, oh wow, this is really cool.
So cool.
It is totally bizarre.
Yeah.
In the same way.
Last time I listened to your Roma episode, I must say Anouk watched more carefully than both of you. She had so many observations I myself hadn't seen.
Thank you.
I love listening to you guys because it's you have this you give me this feeling which is different from other podcasts I listen to several film podcasts. You're the only European one. I have told you already this. The other ones are Americans, and you are doing it like with comfort. I feel like I'm with friends and we are just discussing the film, and it's really at ease. Everything is at ease, and you really seem that have an amazing friendship, the three of you, and one can feel it when they listen to you. So I hope it works, and I hope you get many listeners.
Well,
that was amazing.
What a glowing review.
Thank you very much.
Stick that on the front page of the Patreon.
Definitely. That was awesome.
We're actors, so we actually
we all hate each other.
I've seen some of you acting. You've been posting some stuff. Really, this is probably it's very hard to do what you do.
Yeah.
I imagine it like this. actors. Whoa. I think it's harder than being a director or cinematographer. That's how I imagine it.
Well, the thing is, the heart of it is that you have no control and you have to be given a job, except when you do your own stuff, as we're doing right now with the podcast.
Yeah. It's funny. How do you describe being an actor to anybody else? It's like, just imagine that every other month you have to look for a new job. You know, like once you've done a job, you have to look for a new one. I think that's the easiest way for people to relate. It's like constantly job hunting.
Just job hunting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You get used to it though quite quickly.
Yeah.
I know that might be terrible, but there's quite a lot of things that actors take that anyone else would be like, how dare you?
What are you doing right now? I'm dressed as a panda outside a Chinese spinning a sign, you know, it's work.
It's money.
I have a quick. So, for the first time this year, you've heard last week we did a special Oscars episode. There is a film last year that we didn't talk about, but I know that you've been quite obsessed about because we have at least 3 floor plans behind us there. Phantom Thread.
Oh, yeah.
What was
Phantom Thread.
What was the adventure with this one?
Phantom Thread. I think this is from all the films that came out the recent 3-4 years. This is the film that will stay classic for the next 20 years. It is still going to grow, this film. People will know how precious it is in future. It's not appreciated enough at this right time. But that film, I've seen 4 times, maybe. And I'm not counting the pause and play I do while taking the plans of the house. I mean 4 full times on sitting on the sofa and watching it, and it is so perfectly well done. Every line of every actor's line, every movement, everything you see on every frame, it is so well planned. Someone has been thinking about it a lot, and the best thing I found about this film was, have you, the 3 of you, seen Phantom Thread, or I'm speaking to guys who haven't seen it? Because I can see it on your face.
I haven't seen it,
No.
sadly.
Haven't you?
We
It started playing randomly in the background one time, I remember. It's like, Phantom Thread's just on.
we purchased it last year on iTunes US to have it very early to be able to watch it, but actually we didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to know, the first time it means nothing. First time see. It must be at least 2 times to start noticing things. But the super impressive thing about this film, there is this couple. The man is Daniel Day-Lewis character, and this partner of him, female partner, she's from Luxembourg. I know her name, I forgot it now. They fall in love in the film, but the director's decision, the first time they meet in the story of the film, is actually the first time they meet in life also. So he captured her real reaction, her real shame, because her cheeks were flushing. She actually sees Daniel Day-Lewis for the first time in her life, and it was all real when we saw it on film. Their first meeting, because they fell in love on this first meeting, and she. This was very surprising for me to find out such a director's decision. And also the score is by Radiohead's bass player Johnny Greenwood. Cool. So what can you do?
That's it. I mean, because we've spoken about it, and Bill Skarsgård is kept away from the kids through filming, so that when they film the scene where they first see the monster
To be real.
to be real. And
Pennywise.
you're also thinking Pennywise,
Not Penny's.
Pennyworth, as Adam kept saying in the episode. Pennywise.
Pennyworth is Batman's butler.
Yeah. It's real fear. And I mean, even though these kids are actors, and they've been acting all their lives, they're like child stars. So in interviews, they're like, we're professionals. Like, we know what we're doing.
Well, even recently,
But
one of our recent episodes is Mary Queen of Scots, and as well that Margot Robbie and Saoirse Ronan didn't see each other until they shot that one scene where they meet each other as well. And they avoided
Really?
people on set.
In real? They
Yeah, in
didn't
real.
see each other?
Yeah, they avoided each other on set so that they got the real feel for that scene, which is a standout scene in that movie, I think.
The scene with the sheets.
Yeah,
right?
the sheets. Yeah. Yeah, that's the first time they met.
I loved this film. Really, I didn't have any expectations, and I loved it. More than The Favorite, for example. Yorgos Lanthimos, The Favorite. I preferred the Queen of Scots.
Yeah, it was good. It's nice because there's a couple of films, a lot of films, if it's about Scottish history, is usually the Battle of Independence, so like Braveheart or Outlaw King. And Outlaw King came out on Netflix with Chris Pine, which is, it kind of does the same thing as Mary Queen of Scots, but there's just something about Mary Queen of Scots that has a nicer feel to it. You know,
It's more intimate. It's about emotion. It's about being in this restrictive part of, like, being a queen is restrictive in itself, and there are so many rules, but also in like the period of time of being a woman. And so it's like, but how to deal with that, and then also how to deal with the emotions that are going on. And in Outlaw King, you don't get that because it's a lot more like, men are fighting now.
freedom.
Exactly.
So bastards.
It loses that emotional connection you get, I think, in Mary Queen of Scots.
Yeah.
You would have listened to a few weeks ago at the start of April. That's when we released in sequence The Favorite and Mary Queen of Scots. And I also...
Really? Okay.
Yeah, yes. So I also preferred... well, I wasn't crazy about The Favorite, but thinking about the two now, clearly I have and it did something that never happened before. Me now actually liking Margot Robbie.
I don't like Margot Robbie also. I'm not her fan. Yes. Hey, Yann, do you know, I listened in one of your podcasts, you were talking about Trainspotting 2.
Yeah.
And you were talking about this Bulgarian character, and you said that you like the heroine very, very, not the heroine, the actress very much, Angela Nedialkova. Do you remember?
Yes.
It was Trainspotting 2, and you said this is the perfect woman for you. I know her.
Oh, wow.
I can.
Okay.
That's great.
We'll talk afterwards.
We'll manage it.
Oh,
That's amazing.
that's cool.
She was great.
She was great.
She was really good.
We recently watched that because it came out on Netflix again. I know in our episode I'm like, I don't know if this will be a masterpiece. Nah, it is. It's in the same level to me as Trainspotting 1. It's something about it. This whole feel of being lost and of growing up and like all the dreams that you had as a teenager and like what actually life is. There's just something about it that I'm like, nah, this is a really good film as well. And that's from a 20-year-old. It's like that's watched Trainspotting like 6 years before it came out. I'm like, no, I felt it for having affinity for those characters. So it's a really nice film, and she fits in really well in that film too. I feel
She was actually the main character.
Yeah.
To my surprise.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't expect.
She's the only one that escapes without really any baggage afterwards. She's the only one that manages to get away from the depressingness that they've ruined their own lives, and she's able to find a way out and be who she wants to be, which is quite an achievement in that film, actually.
Yeah.
And in the end, she went back home. Her mother was waiting for her at the train station, and the place where they shot this scene, it's like 5 minutes from me now. I can reach there in 5 minutes.
That's so cool.
Really? That's so funny.
Nice. It's cool because we haven't said it, but because you're in Bulgaria, right? And so we have like what 2 hours difference?
Isn't it 1 or 2? Maybe 2.
I think-
How? What is the time there now?
The time is 10 past 3. I
Okay,
think.
2 hours.
2 hours.
It's nice that via internet we're able to actually have your voice and your face. That's quite nice.
Podcast
can you
is
do?
great, eh?
Science,
No,
Technology.
technology is weird.
aliens.
Yeah.
I know. It's super cool.
Do we feel we have additional stuff to talk about Amour?
I loved it.
I mean, I loved it. It's one of these films that you could talk about for hours, but equally you're like, you want other people to discover it themselves and then have a conversation with them about what they felt.
Yeah.
It's one of those films. Whereas Roma, we picked, Anouk especially, you picked apart and found so much gold in it. I feel this one is such a personal story. I'm actually intrigued. I'm going to show it to my parents to see what their reaction is, obviously, because they'll had parents that are no longer with us, and having that experience of like losing somebody even closer than say like we would for a grandparent. So I'm quite curious to see what that experience is.
That's exactly the feeling I had. Okay, oh, I need to show that to my parents.
Yeah,
Yeah. Definitely.
it's an excellent film. Well worth a watch.
Yeah. It's lovely. It really is. Is there an apartment that you'd like to live in in a film?
That isn't the Dreamers.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I thought that might have been a creative process, but
Yeah.
actually want to be in your life.
let me think. The Dreamers is too big. The house in Mother will drive me crazy. The house in Call Me By Your Name. Maybe the house in Call Me By Your Name.
It's a nice house, isn't
It's
it?
beautiful.
That fireplace.
Or just the kitchen. I'm okay with the kitchen.
It's got a pool.
Put me anywhere in it.
It's so nice.
Elio's room, I will leave to somebody else. Probably a lot of people wanting to live in Elio's room. Guys, this film was crazy. It's became a religion already.
It's an amazing.
Probably-
Yeah.
Together with Phantom Thread, this will be the other film to pass the threshold of future classic films.
Yeah.
I kind of like, because if you think of like major successful films that feature a gay relationship, for years and years and years it was, Brokeback Mountain
Yeah.
for years, and now I'm just happy that something like Call Me By Your Name is now in the main topic of conversation, because I think that's a really nice way of handling that, and it's
Yeah.
a good film.
Yeah. And they're also not stereotypically showing that they're gay, in so many TV series, films, theatre, the gay person has to act in a certain way, dress in a certain way.
Yes, they are tricky. Some heterosexual guys, they don't know what will happen. Watching the film, they will be surprised.
I'm not watching this.
I watched this with my parents. Yay!
Oh yeah, the peach scene. Oh, never look at a peach again.
I haven't eaten a peach since. To be
Or
honest.
the other way around, eating only peaches from now on. Maybe some people.
It's true.
Oh dear.
Every peach is now sexualized.
I can't read Roald Dahl's James and the Giant Peach ever again.
That's a shame. It's
Oh,
such a
dear.
nice book.
Shall we do the question? Not the question.
Do we feel we can go into the rating?
The rating?
Then the questionnaire
Yeah,
and,
sure.
and plugging.
Yes, definitely.
All right. So, Anouk, Yann, and Boryana, was Amour good, bad, or just plain standard? Starting with our guest.
Can you repeat the question?
Was
This
it good, bad, or just plain standard?
we're talking about Amour.
Yes.
Good. How can it be something else but good?
It's very true.
Yann.
Good and powerful, gripping, especially if you have parents or grandparents that are gearing towards getting older, like severely. So yeah, very, very surprised and good.
Anouk.
I agree. It was very good. and it's always nice and also difficult to watch a film like this because the camera doesn't leave the scene when you want it to, but it's okay to live in that vulnerable state.
Yeah, good. I'd say this is in my vault, actually.
In your vault?
I think I'm sticking this in the vault.
Excellent.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Very nice.
Here at the Good, the Bad, and the Just Plain Standard, we have the Milk in a Wineglass questionnaire, which is based on Marcel Proust, who took some questions at 3 stages of his life. Then Bernard Pivot, at the end of every apostrophe episode, he had a 10-minute segment. And more recently, James Lipton inside the Actors Studio. So I have a few questions for you, Boryana. What is your favorite word?
My favorite word.
Yes.
It must be. I have favorite words every week, so it has to be the word of the week, probably.
That's fine,
Sounds
yeah.
good.
That's cool.
I think this week my favorite word is poetry.
Oh,
Sorry if I'm being boring.
no,
No, not at all.
that's nice.
Cool. Now, what is the least favorite word of the week?
The least favorite word. I have this word which I hate always, and I hate when people use it. Or I think they need to switch it with something else, and it's the word interesting. I hate when people say interesting
Fascinating.
instead of something much more imaginative.
We learned from a coach during acting is like, if you ever do a performance or a play and you ask somebody how it is and they say interesting, it's code for them having nothing to say about it.
Yes, something like this. I think people must not use the word interesting.
That's
That's interesting.
got you there. What creatively, spiritually, or emotionally, what turns you on?
What?
Turns you on, like what makes you illuminate when all those stuff happen creatively, or
What makes you happy?
yeah.
What makes me happy?
Yeah, that's easier.
I'm always happy when during my work process with the floor plans, or no matter which stage it is, the painting or researching, I'm always happy when I discover something, some meaning, something which nobody else saw before me. And when I discover it, it's only mine, and I'm like super happy, and I want to share it and I always tell it to several friends. At least they hate me already for this because nobody cares. For example, the last time I experienced such happiness, it was this week. I've been doing this apartment. It's from 1975 film, shot entirely by women, and there's a protagonist woman in the main row and the only row, and she lives in this Brussels apartment, and she almost never leaves this apartment, and she's doing 3 hours housework. The film is called Jean Dioman, Brussels, Key 10-9, three lines of title. You will see it. I posted it already today, and I discovered that all the wallpaper pattern, the parquet pattern, the tiles, everything around her was actually prison bars, and she was living in a cage, and all the patterns in her apartment were prison bars, and this made me really happy, because I don't know if someone else knew this so far, and the film is from 1975. It was amazing.
That's
to-
awesome.
Let me just, because I've seen this on your Patreon. So let me just find it and wait. Here we go. So I can provide the French pronunciation.
Of
Oh
course.
yes, please.
Okay. It's taking some time.
Do you see the prison bars on the image in Patreon? I uploaded it 2 hours ago.
Is that the Patreon for everyone? Okay. Jeanne Dielman, 23 Quai du Commerce, 1080 Bruxelles.
Wow.
Ah. So it's an address?
Yes, I think it's the address of probably her apartment.
Interesting. To be a film title.
I know. I found.
Sorry, I just said interesting.
No, it's just like Yann says that says the name of the film. You're like, oh, it's an address. I'm like, what? So it's just a level of understanding of French. And he's like, oh, it's a street name. I'm like, what?
That's her name and the address, like the street and the zip code, and that's interesting.
Oh yes, I see the prison bars now.
That's what I'm talking about.
In the that's
cool.
Ooh.
Back to the questionnaire. Yeah, and what makes you sad then?
What makes me sad?
Yeah.
Oh.
Everything can make me sad. A movie can make me sad. Actually, I saw this documentary about Michael Jackson two days ago. There is this documentary on HBO which was. Have you heard of it? The Michael Jackson documentary.
Leaving Neverland, yeah.
Yeah, Leaving Neverland. So I think my life is divided into two now, before and after this film, and I was so sad after in the morning after I saw this film. I'm sad because I don't know how I'm going to listen to Michael Jackson songs from now on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think everyone's
Really,
feeling.
I will miss this because that was it for me.
Yeah, today
I'm done. I'm finished.
The recording today is the 8th of March. I read today that the Simpsons episode featuring Michael Jackson has been pulled from circulation.
Yeah.
So if you have a DVD of that, that will be the only version of that around. Because if you've got it on Blu-ray, they'll update the Blu-ray and it will go from the list. So if you have a DVD of that series, having that on, you'll be one of the few people in the world that will be able to see that episode anymore. Radio
stations aren't playing his songs either.
Yeah.
Of course, his fans are saying that it's all lies.
They are very supportive.
Very supportive. But, I mean, once you hear something like that, it's hard not to hear it every time you hear Michael Jackson's songs for me.
Yeah.
So even if I believe it or not, it's still going to be somewhere in my head.
Yeah, that's so true.
Okay, so this thing doesn't make you happy. So what would be the favorite curse word you would use in that case then?
Curse.
A bad word,
swear word.
Swear word. What's your favorite?
Swear word.
Yeah.
I love the swear words of other languages, not mine languages. So I know from films curses from in French, and I love them. But I think it's not okay to say them. Is it okay? Because they mean nothing to me. Do you know the Polish guys? Their swear word. We have the same one in Bulgaria. It's it's kurva.
Kurva. I think I've heard. Yes. I used to have a close friend of mine who's Polish. He used to say that a lot.
It's a horrible word in Bulgarian. A horrible. You need to never say it. Probably it's something like puta, in French. Something more, maybe even more horrible. But in Polish, they say it. Every third word is kurva. kurva. And I think it's still some kind of an easier swear there, lighter one.
Well, in Scotland, we have the use of the C word, which is you say in America, but it's used in everyday language.
Really?
Scotland.
The C word? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why I'm saying the C word. I can say it, but just for my own, just out of habit of recording, I won't say it.
Well,
We know the word.
Yeah. I think everyone
You
does.
can say it.
You can say it.
well,
But it is hard. It sounds horrible.
Yeah, it's out of context. It's just such a horrible sounding word.
I would say that this episode right now has a potential to be seen by many people, so it's probably better to avoid.
Yeah, maybe just this once. A Scottish person will refrain from saying the C word.
What sound or noise do you like and then dislike?
Sound,
Yeah,
noise.
sound, noise, yeah.
I'm living next to the airport. I have the airplanes flying all the time above me.
I'm amazed. We only heard one. There was only one during the recording. I was like, that's quite good.
Yeah, there must be a
You only have one plane.
There's only been one. Well, there's only one we've heard. So if there's been others, they've not been noticeable. And it's not even that. It wasn't even that noticeable, to be fair.
Sounded like a homage to Roma kind of thing, but yeah.
I'm pretty much like Roma, yes.
Yeah.
And some of the engines sound I love, the others I don't love. I know the sound of the different engines, the different models.
Wow.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
A film director. Never to happen probably, but I love the idea.
Yeah.
And not attempt?
Not a tent.
Yes.
Probably. I don't think I ever want to get back to architecture the way it was. Really, I don't want to go back there.
If God exists, what would you like to hear her say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
When I arrive,
Yes.
so when I'm dead.
Yes, I'm afraid at some point in the distant future it may happen.
Unfortunately, living people don't get to go to heaven.
You know, a friend told me once, and I support this fear of her. She said she's scared that when we die, we probably will find out that it's not the end, that something is to continue after this. So she was hoping that this is going to be the end, this life, and no more.
Wow.
And yes, and I think I would also love that.
I agree with you.
Fair enough.
Nice. If you were reincarnated as some other plant or animal, what would it be?
You have all seen the lobster, Yorgos
Yeah.
Lanthimos film? Okay. Plant or animal? Plant or animal? I think I want to be a tree. Those trees that live like 1,000 years, you know?
Yeah.
They just stay there, grow bigger and bigger and bigger, and just witness.
Sequoia.
Yes.
Nice.
Witness. I like that.
Which is perfect with the question that is coming, actually. If you had the opportunity to go and view any future from the past, like if you were completely invisible and you had a Babel fish to understand what was being said, view any culture from the past, like you walked amongst the Romans or cave people, or who would you choose?
To be. I mean, who would I choose to be in the past, or
to go visit any culture from the past?
to visit
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah.
it won't be the dinosaurs era or the first people era for sure. It won't be the cholera in London time, the dark times. It won't be the Renaissance. Probably it will be somewhere the 20s of 20th century. And although I have always been very interested in for the formation of New York, the city of New York, but no. 20s in Europe, France, but Paris.
France,
But
yeah.
yes, but it sounds like a little bit Woody Allen now.
Cool. So it's always a bad question to ask what's your favorite movie, but I'll just ask, in the last 100 years, could you do like a top 5 of your favorite movies?
Yes. It will be 3 of them Lars von Trier. Okay. Lars von Trier, Melancholia. I loved Lars von Trier's The House That Jack Built. But don't say it. It's very judging to say it out loud that you loved this film. You probably haven't seen it yet. Okay, top 5. Melancholia, Lars von Trier. Clouds of Sils Maria, Olivier Assayas. I discovered this director with the Shoplifters director Hirokazu Koreeda. So Maburosi, his film. I love this one, Maburosi. So we have Clouds of Sils Maria, Maburosi, Melancholia. I will put David Lynch, something by David Lynch for sure. But which one? Blue Velvet by David Lynch. And something from last year, let's say Phantom Thread.
Of course.
Nice.
I would say it's quite incredible that you said Melancholia, because my next question, which I haven't asked ever already, is if you knew with absolute certainty that the world would end one day from now, what would you do with those 24 hours?
That's the question everyone asks themselves while watching Melancholia, I'm sure. What would I do next 24 hours? Wow. I don't know. I think I will spend them in solitude. I mean, not saying goodbye to anyone. Probably somewhere alone. Probably I'll go up in the mountain. I have this mountain just across the window. I see it from here. I can't imagine it actually. But I loved the place where the protagonists of Melancholia saw the end of the world. They were on this in front of this castle, on this lawn, all alone, away from the world, just waiting for the apocalypse. It is so beautiful place.
Nice.
Wait for the apocalypse.
We reached the 2 bonus questions, guys.
Oh. I don't have. I think I asked my bonus questions already. That's the problem.
Let me think.
Yeah.
Don't torture them.
No.
Which director would you like to see your art? Even if it's not one you've done, like, is there a director out there you go, it's in a selfish way, it's like, oh, I hope they've seen what I've done.
Hirokazu Koreda is the Japanese director I discovered last year, and I put his Maburosi film in my top 5. This is one of the directors I would like to meet, and the other one is Pavel Pavlikovsky. He's coming to Sofia next week.
Nice.
Awesome.
Dream come true.
Nice.
We'll see about that.
It's plugging time.
Oh, yeah.
Go, go, podcast rangers. Mighty plug-in podcast rangers. Go, go, podcast rangers. Mighty plug-in podcast rangers.
I'm going to invest in getting us a jingle. I
Yep.
think I will invest in us getting a jingle soon. I'm working on something.
We'll record that.
So, Boryana, we talked already a few times about Floor Plan Croissant. So, where can our billion of listeners
One day.
follow you? Can you talk about your Patreon? What's the address and your social media stuff?
Everyone can find me at F Plan Croissant on Instagram, Facebook, and Patreon. Patreon is only for the small film club I have formed there, and it's closed for most of the things I write there are closed for the public. But I think Instagram is the main place. I just feel very comfortable there to expose my thoughts, my work, my process, my emotions.
Nice.
Cool.
Cool. Any words to add in conclusion to this extremely nice and we were happy to have you
Yeah.
on the episode.
This has been great.
So cool.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I was really excited.
Yeah, we're
to
excited
wait
too.
for this meeting.
We were excited too.
We'll definitely get on Phantom Thread after you're glowing right above it. We'll get on that.
And Elena.
Yes.
Elena,
and
yes.
Lars von Trier films.
And Phantom Thread several times.
Yeah, several
Several
times. We'll
times.
watch it at least twice before we talk about it.
Yeah, we will.
With a week between them.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Not immediately.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you to everyone listening or even watching, and you also, Boryana, as we said. Can we just, because what is your full name? I won't even try to see. It's Boryana
Ilieva.
Okay.
Ilieva.
Boryana Ilieva.
Okay. Well, thank you again for coming. Thank you everyone to listening. And we were
Adam.
Anouk.
Yann and
Boryana.
bye bye.
Floorplan Croissant.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.